A very good morning to you. Live from Johannesburg, South Africa, this is eNCA. Huge pleasure to be with you. I'm Gareth Edwards. Eleni Jokos will join us again in just a moment. First, our top story. The producers of the movie banned from the International Film Festival down in Durban plan to appeal the ruling. It's a South African film entitled Of Good Report. It was dropped from the program when the Film and Publications Board found it contained child pornography. Producers believe that decision was unfair, saying the classifiers didn't watch the entire movie before making their ruling. Well, let's get reaction from someone who has worked with the film. It's independent filmmaker Firdoze Bulbulia, who was involved in the making. Well, Firdoze, good morning to you. If I might, for the record, what is your exact involvement with the film?
We are the associate producers.
Okay. We had the FPB on earlier this morning. They say the act is quite clear as to what the ruling is. You say you're going to appeal on what grounds?
Well, I think what is important for us is to realize this is a film festival. And by its nature, you hope that the people who come there are people who are literate, who are media savvy, and they come in there with a particular understanding of what film's about. So you're pushing the boundary, you're pushing the envelope. You do have risky films at most of the festivals. So the shock for us is that as filmmakers, we are being silenced. I think the act, of course, is clear. Yes. And I think as an aside, I should say that I chair the Children's Broadcasting Foundation for Africa. So issues around child pornography is big for us. It's not something we would condone.
Obviously, no one has seen this movie. I apologize. Obviously, no one has seen this movie yet. Give me an idea. What is the exact problem? What is the scene that they have issues with? Take me through it.
Sure. There's a scene where the older teacher, who is having an illicit affair with a young student, actually comes to, and it's insinuated that they're going to be having sex. There is no sexual scene. There is nothing gratuitous. You do not see anything. And this is surprising for us. If it was gratuitous, as a woman, as a gender activist, I would be concerned about it myself.
The legal age for consensual sex in South Africa is 16. If I may ask, the lady playing the young girl in the movie, as the character, what age is she supposed to be portraying?
As the character, she's 16.
In real life?
In real life, she's 23.
So really, according to you, there is no issue at all here. Why do you think the FPB have done this?
It's very sinister. We're quite surprised. It was also, the film was called at the last minute. They called it on Monday. It should have been shown on Thursday. We were told on Wednesday.
Last week now.
Yes, last week. Okay. So we were told the day before, almost the night before, that the film was to be banned. I think it's also sinister in the fact that they didn't watch the entire film. If you have a panel who's going to be looking at film, your responsibility is to watch the entire film. If you don't have the goal to watch it, don't be on the panel.
If I can ask you just to hold that for a moment, we're actually going to take a listen to what the Film and Publication Board had to say earlier this morning on Morning News Today with Dan Moyane. Here is that soundbite. Well, my apologies. It seems I've pressed the wrong button. That was Tuli Madonsela. My apologies for those. It seems like Monday morning, not enough coffee as yet. So I'll press the right button in a moment. I'm sure my producer will let me know when it's ready. As we continue this now, you say that they haven't watched the whole film.
Yes.
The FPB.
It was 28 minutes into the film. They decided that this was too much for them and they stopped.
Are they required to watch an entire film? What regulations do they have?
If you're classifying something, I think you should give it the benefit of the doubt. And if you feel a little bit uneasy and uncomfortable, watch the entire film, see where it goes to. I think that, which is what I keep saying, this was a film festival. This is not the general public. This is not a child audience. This is a very specialized audience that comes to watch these films. So you're already you're prepared as an audience for all kinds of things. I think what is shocking for us is post-94, this is an African film by an African filmmaker that is banned.
I believe, a little bird has told me, we now have the correct sound, but it's a Monday. Let's try this one more time as I press play on the bite from the FPB.
Okay.
The Act is very clear that when our classifiers classify content, should they come across any content which they believe to be illegal, and in this case child pornography, they are required to stop classification immediately. In this particular film, that occurred at 28 minutes, and therefore our classified, and once again I must clarify that each and every piece of content is classified by a minimum of 3 classifiers. Unanimously, they then agreed that the content was child pornography and therefore refused classification and did not proceed with the classification.
So is this a case of child pornography? You're saying no, they're saying yes. What now?
Well, we're appealing. And however, unfortunately, the appeal takes 30 days, by which time the film festival will be over, and therefore we cannot show the film in South Africa.
As a final question, a gender activist, as you've told me you are, help me understand in your terminology, what is child pornography?
Well, I would think that if it was explicit sexual interaction, then that would be pornography. I would also be concerned for an underage audience to watch something that is even implied child pornography. But in this case, it is neither.
Indeed, we'll wait to see what happens. A big thanks for you coming in this
Thank
morning
you.
as well. Firdoze Bulbulia, independent filmmaker, also one of the associate producers on a South African film of good report that was dropped from the Durban International Festival. That appeal will go forward according to them, and we will pick up that story as we go along throughout this week. Well, an independent report on upgrades to President Zuma's Nkandla homestead could be made available to the public. The Office of Public Protector, that's Satuli Madonsela, says it has received new information on the upgrades which could shed more light on its investigation.
News that moves. eNCA.com.